And you're watching and listening to the Electronic Intifada live stream. I'm Nora Barrows-Friedman. Coming up, we'll have an interview with Palestine actionist Huda Amori, and we'll get a full update from John Elmer on the latest military developments from the resistance in Gaza. But first, we're joined by Ali Abunimah and Walaa Sabah, a writer from Gaza who now lives in the UK. Walaa is the Community Outreach and Partnership Officer at We Are Not Numbers, the collective of young writers in Gaza. Walaa, thank you so much for being with us today on the Electronic Intifada live stream.
Thank you so much, Nora.
Welcome, Walaa.
Yeah, welcome. Tell us about your family in Gaza, what you know of their whereabouts and safety right now.
So my family, as well as many of the Palestinian families, were displaced from the northern part of Gaza Strip to the south. Now they're staying in a tent in a displacement camp that was created for people who were displaced from the north. Situation is really dire at this moment. No access to food, electricity, water, or healthcare facilities. They're struggling daily, especially that Ramadan has come like a couple of days ago, and now they can't move around or this is the situation briefly. I have been talking to our writers in Gaza, our journalists in Gaza, and they have been experiencing lots of struggles in getting food aid. One of our writers and journalists there in Gaza, her name is Miriam, and she told me that they have been waiting in a line for 6 hours to get only one cucumber with a couple of potatoes and some vegetables. She said they are depending on canned food, which is not healthy for them, eating for 6 months so far, and this is affecting their overall health. No electricity, as I said. They are taking showers in the sea directly because the Al-Mawasi displacement camp in Khan Yunis is right next to the sea. So they are taking showers in the sea, which giving them some skin problems and inflammation. She said they have to go to Rafah to be able to get a treatment, and the medications is not available. My sister personally, she's a pharmacy student and in her second year, and because there is no one in the camp to provide any healthcare support for them, so she's taken lead and she has transferred my parents' living tent into a medical point for people to be able to get access to help. She's helping with the minimum she can. Because they have wounded people in the camp. They also have women who give birth. So she's taken lead of supporting those women, changing on their wounds, helping the children as well in their problems, and women in their inflammation. But again, they do not have any medications at this moment, and they have to go by themselves if available, like in Gaza.
Well, thank you for telling us about your family, and I'm so sorry to hear that what they're going through is exactly what we hear from almost everyone in Gaza. I want to ask you, Ramadan has just started in the past days. How is life different for people in Gaza during Ramadan? Are people trying to observe Ramadan, or is it simply impossible given the scarcity of food and the need to just be able to eat whenever they can? What do you know about that?
Okay, so you understand that moving around is not an easy task for them because they prefer not to move it during the day. So now moving to Rafah and having access to medical facilities there and food aid agencies is not as easy as before. They only depend on one meal a day that is provided after the sunset, and that meal is provided by food agencies to them. But they are not, of course, it's not like any of the Ramadans we survived before. There is no joy and there is no joy. They're not able to enjoy the family gatherings they used to have in the past. Again, they depend on canned food, nothing healthy. I feel that it's not. I feel like they should have like at least one healthy meal a day, which they cannot, as many of them have told me. They said again, there's nothing that hasn't changed. The same food they are eating, if available, it's only about canned food, no vegetables. They said they had to wait on a line to get 2 eggs from Honor a couple of days ago, and many of them were making fun that they paid for the transportation more than the eggs worth. But yeah, that's the food situation there.
Walaa, what are people saying about these absurd and lethal airdrops that are, being coordinated by Jordan, but used by Western countries, mostly the U.S. and some European countries, to circumvent, not having to pressure Israel to open the crossings and let these thousands of aid trucks that are idling at these crossings in. What are people saying about what's happening with these airdrops?
I mean, it's not only my opinion, but it's quite ridiculous what's going on right now. Like dropping aid, why not just asking people to die, but asking Israel to kill people while they're full, not when they're empty stomach. So people want a ceasefire. This is what they are asking for, and then they can have the aid because the aid is stuck, like in Egypt at this moment, without access to Gaza. What people are asking for now is not food. They want a ceasefire, and then the food is important, but the ceasefire comes first. The US is the same. The US has dropped food aid as well, food parcel on people, but they were making fun of the what these food parcels contain. It doesn't even align with what Palestinians eat or what type of food it has, like very dried food as well, like pieces of salt and black pepper. They were making fun of the type of food. It's just like, it's more of like show off that we are doing something while the US can stop what's going on right now, but doesn't want to do so. Palestine, also Jordan, joined this food drop in. But again, people are not happy and not satisfied. It killed people. Like they're doing it even wrong. That is making people's life worse. People are not satisfied with this. I heard it from many of our journalists in Gaza, especially from We're Not Numbers, that they were making videos of those food aid and saying that doesn't make any sense for them, and they wanted an immediate ceasefire before showing off that we're helping Gaza, because they're not helping them.
And what about these plans that have been announced to set up a port to deliver aid, that the United States is going to build a port or a way for ships to land, and even the news that the first ship carrying aid has just left Cyprus? What are people saying about that? What's their perception of these plans?
Honestly, people don't have any trust in the US. People in Gaza don't have any trust in the US at this moment. So they have suspicions of what's behind this port, what's behind this medical or aid support that's coming from that port. Many people are just so suspicious, and they are staying alerted about something bad coming soon from this port. They're not encouraged. They're not enthusiastic about it. They said the US could have stopped this war and then started the port, but they decided with the port without ending the war. So
what are some of their fears or concerns about the port? Because I've heard some people outside Gaza say, oh, well, any way of getting aid in is a good thing. Why wouldn't people in Gaza feel that way?
Well, when people are outside of Gaza, they are not experiencing what people in Gaza they are experiencing, right? And it's just like being an outlooker at what's going on in Gaza. What makes sense for those people, because people in Gaza know that they are experiencing the war themselves, and then if they're experiencing it, they know that the U.S. has been supporting killing the Palestinians from day one and supporting Israel's side over Palestinians. So why not? The first question, the main question is, well, why not ending the war first and then creating this port and supporting Palestinians? That's a logical question, honestly, from a person who's seeing the situation from the outside. Why not ending the war and then provide as many aid as you want? Why not in so far, like over 30,000 Palestinians were killed, more than 12,000 children were killed. And what's next? What are we waiting for? Number of malnutrition, people dying from famine as well. What we're waiting for it's not about food, it's about ending the war in Gaza. And more than this is the US has been suspicious, like have lots of suspicions about its operations in Gaza, and about having a military base in Israel that was recently discovered or even shown in the media. So Palestinians are having are fearing, afraid that that Gaza will be under Israeli occupation now, under the Israeli presence for a long period. Now it's 6 months. At the very beginning, they thought it's going to be 1 week, 2 weeks, and then 1 month. And now we are 6 months, and it's extending. It's not stopping. So this port, if the aid will keep coming, this means that the war will extend for like probably a year or even more. Who knows? So that's, Ali, the main concerns of the Palestinian people in Gaza.
Walaa, can you talk a little bit about your work with We Are Not Numbers and the community that you have helped build there, and what some of your contributors and colleagues are, how are they doing right now? What's happening with We Are Not Numbers?
First of all, We're Not Numbers is a youth-led Palestinian project. It's in Gaza. It was founded in 2015. The We're Not Numbers project focuses on training young people in Gaza Strip and as well as many other regions in the world, Canada, Turkey, US, UK, in journalistic writing, and how to defend Palestine, how to present the Palestinian case in the media. We wanted them to talk on their behalf, not to have people talking on their behalf. We have many people, like over 300 Palestinian writers and journalists in Gaza Strip at this moment. They're writing, and the electronic or Intifada has already partnered with some of them. They are all displaced. The majority, if not all, the people I know are displaced to the south of Gaza. We have a couple of our writers in the north. Unfortunately, many of our writers were killed, including 𝐓𝐡𝐿, as well as 𝐓𝐡𝐿 𝐄𝐥𝐞𝐜 𝐈𝐧𝐭𝐫𝐶𝐤. They were all writers for We're Not Numbers. They were tragically killed by Israeli airstrikes on the Gaza Strip. So far, as I said before, as I mentioned, our writers are displaced. They're experiencing lots of struggles. Many of them are trying to get out of Gaza desperately to continue with their education. They haven't continued their education. They're still in their university bachelor's degree. They are so worried about their future. They are so worried about their family's future as well. They don't know if they will survive, and if they will survive from the bombing, if they will survive from the famine happening right now. So, but they are so optimistic about writing about Palestine. They want to tell what's going on. They feel that they are witnessing. There are eyewitnesses of what's going on at this moment. So they want to tell the world what's going on, and I feel proud that they are doing so.
We're very proud of them as well. And as you mentioned, we've had the privilege to work with many of the We Are Not Numbers writers, and we credit We Are Not Numbers for training and supporting and nurturing so many wonderful journalists and creative writers in Gaza, and that's been tremendously valuable to us in our mission of telling the stories of Gaza. And we are we offer our condolences for the We Are Not Numbers writers who have been killed, and we note that Israel is targeting intellectuals and writers. And they're being killed just because they're Palestinians in Gaza, and everyone is being killed, but they're also targeting specific writers, journalists, intellectuals, university presidents, one of whom was our dear friend, Dr. 𝐓𝐡𝐞 𝐄𝐥𝐞𝐜, and he worked closely with We Are Not Numbers, I understand. Can you say a little bit more about his work and the legacy he left with We Are Not Numbers?
Dr. 𝐓𝐡𝐞 is a very incredible, amazing person in terms of academic life, in terms of passionate person about the stuff he's doing. He's one of the co-founders of We Are Not Numbers. He's been there since its establishment. He's been training our writers on journalistic writing and how to advocate for the policy for Palestine and for the Palestinian rights. Many people are so grateful for him, for his contribution to Palestine. He since day one, he has been training our writers in Gaza. He's been providing sessions for We Are Not Numbers writers. He always encouraged them to write. He provided training on academic writing as well as feature writings and how to be careful about the terminology. He was so focused on this. Of course, our project is in English, so he always provided like proofreading for some texts. And he also helped connecting some of our writers to international magazines and online websites so they can talk and write for them and to have their voice heard all over the world.
And that work continues, and that's very important. And we continue to honor Dr. 𝐓𝐡 by continuing his mission, and we're grateful to you and your colleagues for doing that as well. And is there a way, people are asking us, is there a way people can help and support the mission of We Are Not Numbers?
At this moment, We Are Not Numbers. Also, at the very beginning, we started as a voluntary program. So what we are doing is that they write for us, and then we help them to connect to international organizations, websites, and news agencies. At this moment, we decided that we're going to pay for our writers. What we do now is just pay for their pieces to help them and support them financially. They always can donate to We Are Not Numbers website if they would like to, and then their contribution will go directly to our writers in Gaza.
That's
wonderful. Great. And finally, just about your own work, Walaa. You're far away from your family and community and neighborhood in Gaza. You're doing this incredible work with We Are Not Numbers. You've contributed to the Electronic Intifada recently. Here's your author page. Tell us about what's next for you and how you are continuing to do, this honorable work of journalism and providing, a voice from the ground.
Well, this is the least thing I can do, Nora. I'm not with my family, although I wish I was there when the war has started. It feels so sad that I'm all right in a safe place while they're experiencing all this by themselves. At the same time, I feel that I can help and reflect what's going on from here and support them in terms of food and stuff more than if I was in Gaza. What I'm doing is just writing about what's going on, trying to show the world the suffering of Palestinian people, what they have to experience during this war, and that's the least I can do. I'm also part of so many initiatives in Gaza to provide we're currently providing some solar panels to try to repower Gaza, or at least helping Palestinians in some displacement camps to repower the camps, especially during the months of Ramadan. I'm also part of many initiatives supporting food to Gaza. I'm in the middle of one right now. So this is what I can do, writing, participating in those initiatives, trying to get to support the Palestinian community, especially our writers in Gaza.
Walaa Sabah, thank you so much for joining us today on the Electronic Intifada live stream. We have the website URL for We Are Not Numbers down there at the bottom of the screen, wearenotnumbers.org. Thank you so much for being with us, and we hope to have you back on really soon. Thank you so much, Walaa.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you so much, Walaa.
Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit like, leave a comment. These engagements help us with the YouTube algorithm, and it helps us to get around Silicon Valley censorship as much as possible. It does make a difference. You can also support our journalism by going to electronicintifada.net and clicking on donate now. Thank you.